Europe should be colder than it is. What do I mean by that? If you compare cities of the same latitude in Europe and North America, they're not exactly the equivalences you think would be there are not exactly the ones you're going to find. So, for example, Rome is a city in Europe, in Italy specifically, that's known for being overall good weather, like warm weather. It's definitely not known for being cold. And if you pick like anywhere in North America that you'd have to think in terms of climate of where would be equivalent to Rome, you'd probably be thinking of something like LA or maybe San Francisco, or in the East Coast, I don't know, maybe Charleston in South Carolina or something like that. But Rome is actually in the same latitude as Boston, which is one of the not one of the coldest cities in the U.S., but definitely one of the coldest major cities and one of the furthest up north cities in the U.S. It's definitely much, much colder than Rome. Rome could go a year without snow. Boston could not go a year without snow, and quite the opposite. I believe I've never lived in Boston, but I believe it's quite usual that it gets like to the teens or even lower teens in terms of temperature. Whereas like Rome, anything near freezing is like a really pretty cold temperature. So that's the first example I'd like to give. Second one is Paris. So Paris definitely is not viewed as a particularly cold city. It's honestly just viewed as like a four seasons kind of climate. You know, there's snow, there's a hot summer. It's just like a normal thing. No one moves to Paris and they're like, damn, I'm in for some cold winters. You know, but actually Paris is quite a bit. I Google it and it's quite a bit north of Toronto in Canada. So you move to Canada and you think, oh damn, I'm so up north, let's say, and you're actually most likely below what Paris or what Switzerland or what just like Central European countries would be. And that's very interesting. Compared to North America in any given latitude, the probability that like a equivalent city in Europe is warmer is nearly 100%. Another example I give, so Athens in Greece. Greece is known for like literally being like a paradise kind of country with like warm weather mostly year round. And Athens is just a little to the south of New York City. Which is, well, four seasons, yeah, but definitely harsh winters. And to be fair, New York is to the north of Athens, but it's, for example, to the south of Rome. So you got to consider everything here, and like it is indeed quite amazing. Last example I want to give is Oslo and Anchorage. So Oslo, obviously capital of Norway, Anchorage, capital of Alaska. Is it a capital of Alaska or is it just a major city? I think it's just the biggest city in Alaska. But anyway, Alaska is just obviously Norway is known for being a cold country, sure. But if you see average temperatures in Oslo or in Anchorage, I don't doubt that at any given point Oslo is probably 20 to 30 degrees warmer than Anchorage, especially in the winter. But even in the summer, I think it has a little bit of a more solid summer, let's call it that. And so, yeah, if you just see it throughout the board, especially Western Europe, but even like places like Poland as well, they just don't get as cold. And that's the main thing because it gets warm everywhere. Like if you go to Paris or even London or, I don't know, Switzerland, there'll be pretty high temperatures. It'll be like maybe 100 degrees or something like that. But North America is just more extreme overall, and especially in its winters. Yeah, you could go to a city in the middle of North America, like mid latitude in the US, and it'd be like snowing and not only like below freezing, but like 10 or 20 degrees below freezing. Whereas like in Europe, to even find that at all, it like would be really, really hot. I traveled in Europe for a while, and throughout the winter, I was in many, many different cities, and I was in pretty like some countries that are considered really, really cold. So I was in Estonia and Latvia and Lithuania. I was in Poland. I was in Germany. And I was in Austria. I was in Budapest as well. And I think out of all those places that I went through December and January, I didn't even get any temperature that was colder than like 20 Fahrenheit or like -6, -8 Celsius, which is, well, cold, definitely. Like you wouldn't go out and it'd be like -6 Celsius and you'd be like, yeah, that's actually pretty warm. No, it's a cold temperature. But considering how high those countries' latitudes are, it's amazing that they're not 10, 20 degrees colder than they actually are in winter. And same goes for summer. Like in Europe, it would be like 95, 100 degrees Fahrenheit, like 35, 38 Celsius, and it'll be hot, you know, like you'll be like, damn, that is a hot temperature. Whereas like you could go to Phoenix, Arizona, and be like 130 degrees Fahrenheit or something, and maybe I don't know if it actually gets to that every year, but it might, you know, like there's definitely some really, really abusively hot weather in the US that you just honestly don't see in Europe overall. And yeah, that's why I say Europe should be colder. It also, in a way, at least in the summer, should be hotter than it is as well. And what you get, I'm gonna put a map here right now. What you get out of this is that like the adverse effect of this is just that Europe is so much more foggy than North America. So in terms of like absolute sunshine hours during the year, North America is just like so much better. Like, well, if you like the sun, right? But it's got a lot more sun, and if you have like seasonal depression in like I don't know in Washington State or in New York City or in Boston or some of those northern US sort of states, uh, definitely do not go to Northern Europe because in terms of like the amount of lack of sunshine hours, not just because it's further north, but also because it's much more cloudy and windy and rainy overall. Is I mean not windy. Yeah, there's some pretty thick wind in the U.S. The U.S. also has a lot more natural disasters overall. Like there's no hurricanes in Europe. There's no virtually, I think, no tornadoes in Europe. So yeah, the U.S. just got a bad luck out of this, where it's just it's extreme, and I guess that indicates its politics a little bit as well, doesn't it? But yeah, it's a very interesting scenario. I already kind of knew about this, but I googled it lately, and it was like such a diverse contrast, let's call it that. So I wanted to share with you guys. But yeah, comment below. What would you live in Europe, in the U.S., north, south, west, east? Just let me know, and I'll see you guys around.